All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are going to tackle something that's a real game changer for developers, the OpenAI Assistants API. And trust me, it's designed to fix one of the biggest headaches in AI.
So, have you ever built a chatbot and felt like it has just total amnesia? You tell it something and 2 messages later, poof, it's gone. That's what we call a stateless problem. And honestly, it's been a massive roadblock for a long time.
Okay, so this slide really breaks it down. On one side, you've got the old way, the stateless way. That's where you have to do all the heavy lifting. You got to manage the conversation history, send it back and forth every single time. It's messy, it's expensive, and honestly, it's just a pain. But on the other side, we have the stateful approach of the Assistants API. It just remembers. All that memory management happens on the back end for you.
So let's really dig into this memory problem, what I call the hard way. See, with your standard, run-of-the-mill stateless API, all the pressure to make the conversation make sense, it's all on you, the developer.
And what does that actually mean? It means you're building the whole memory system from scratch. You're storing every message. You have to decide, okay, how much history do I send back with every single new message? Do I send the whole thing? Because that gets really expensive with tokens, or maybe just a small window of the last few messages, or do I try to summarize the whole chat? Each of these is its own complicated workaround. You end up managing databases, user sessions. It's a massive headache.
All right, so what's the elegant solution to this whole mess? Well, that's where OpenAI's Stateful Assistant comes in.
Yeah, the whole point of the Assistants API is that it's stateful, right out of the box. It's built from the ground up to remember things. So all that junk we just talked about, the history management, the databases, it just handles it for you. You get to focus on the fun part, actually building your app. It just works.
Okay, so how do you actually use this thing? It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. It all boils down to 3 key parts that work together as a team: the assistant, the thread, and the run.
So check it out. This is the basic flow. Step 1, you create your assistant. That's kind of like your expert AI. Step 2, you create a thread. Think of that as the conversation itself. And step 3, you use a run to get things moving. Assistant, thread, run. That's the magic formula.
All right, let's start with the assistant. This is your specialized AI expert. You're basically building a little AI agent that you can fine-tune for a super specific task. It could be a math tutor, a travel guide, whatever you want.
And when you set one up, you're giving it a few things. A name, you pick which model you want it to use, like GPT-4, and you can give it some special tools. We'll get to those in a bit. But honestly, the most important piece of the puzzle is the instructions. This is the secret sauce, right here. It's where you tell it who it is. You are a sarcastic but helpful coding assistant. You are a cheerful travel agent. You define its whole personality and goal.
Okay, next up is the thread. This is super simple. Just think of it as a single conversation. Like one long text message chain or a chat window on a website. That's a thread.
The thread is where all the messages live, back and forth. This is the component that gives the API its memory. And the best part, you don't need your own database to store the conversation anymore. The thread takes care of all of that. And what's really important is that you create one thread for each conversation, so everything stays nice and separate.
And finally, we have the run. This is what actually makes the magic happen. I mean, the assistant and the thread are just the setup, right? The run is the action. It's the engine.
So to put it simply, the run takes your assistant and a thread, smashes them together, looks at the latest message, and tells the assistant, all right, do your thing. It kicks off the whole process to get you a response. It's basically the go button for the conversation.
Okay, now for what might be the trickiest part, especially if you're new to this. A run doesn't just instantly spit back an answer. It's asynchronous.
And what does that mean? Well, the assistant might need a second to think, or maybe needs to run some code or look something up, so the response isn't immediate. And because of that, you have to do something called polling. You can't just ask once and get the answer. You have to keep checking in, asking, hey, are you done yet?
So here's what that looks like in practice. You start a run, the server immediately says, got it, I'm working on it, its status is queued or in progress, then your code needs to go into a little loop, checking the status every few seconds. Are we there yet? How about now? And only when that status finally flips to completed, that's when you can grab the AI's response.
Okay, so memory is cool and all, but this is where it gets really fun. Assistants come with 2 built-in superpowers that you can just switch on. And those 2 superpowers are code interpreter and knowledge retrieval. The easiest way to think about them is like this. Code interpreter is your personal data analyst, and knowledge retrieval is your own personal research librarian. These tools are what turn a basic chatbot into a seriously powerful assistant.
So Code Interpreter is awesome. You can enable it and your assistant can suddenly write and run Python code all by itself in a safe, sandboxed environment. This means it can solve really complex math problems, it can analyze data you give it, it can even make charts and graphs for you. And the key here is that its answers aren't just guesses, they're based on actual code that it ran, so you know they're correct.
And then there's knowledge retrieval. This one is a total game changer. It lets you upload your own files. We're talking PDFs, text documents, you name it. You basically give the assistant its own private library. Then it can answer questions using the information inside your documents. This is what people call RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. And it's how you build an AI that's an expert on your specific stuff, not just the general internet.
All right, so let's wrap this all up. What are the key things to remember? First, the big problem. Normal chat APIs have no memory. They're stateless. The solution? The Assistants API, which is stateful and manages memory for you. It all works with 3 core pieces: the assistant, the thread, and the run. And remember, the process is asynchronous, which means you have to poll to check when it's done. And finally, you can give your assistant amazing superpowers with code interpreter and knowledge retrieval.
So this tech really pushes us way beyond just simple question and answer bots. We're now in the realm of creating genuinely helpful AI agents. Think about it. A personal tutor that actually remembers a student's progress, or a business analyst that knows your company's data inside and out. It really opens up a new world of possibilities. So the question I want to leave you with is, now that your AI can learn and remember anything, what are you going to build? That's it for this explainer. Thanks for watching.